now are going to work together. Where do those characteristics fit?
Small, flexible group instruction is a powerful differentiation strategy for meeting gifted students' academic needs and maintaining their motivation for learning.
Your assignment is going to be to pick one of these areas of creative thinking that you would like to explore that's outside of your comfort zone.
Gifted students really do need to be challenged. They need to be extended. Oftentimes what we find is that gifted students can figure out very quickly that they're one of the smartest students in the classroom. And if we do not provide challenges for those students, we can actually see students, gifted students, perform worse as the year goes on.
We can connect a book to our own life.
Kay uses flexible grouping as a way to challenge and extend her gifted readers.
Montana, which one would you like to share right now?
Can I use one from
You sure can, if you have evidence to support it.
In this lesson, Kay is asking students to link traits to characters and justify their thinking.
I think that Roger is the clown because like his eyes are always like twinkling, and it just like kind of makes him a clown. I know another way, more evidence to the question. It says in the book that he rolled back his lips and showed his teeth in a apologetic smile.
Oh, so he had kind of he could make faces.
Yeah,
Do clowns make faces?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
So,
like he could make his eyes like twinkle and look sad and stuff.
yes. So he was also not only a clown, but who has another character trait he demonstrated?
Interesting activities and guiding questions are critical to helping young gifted readers enhance their inference skills.
Theo, what do you want to add to this?
I think Badger also loves children because it said in the book that he disappears and goes to the playground when it's time for recess, and he goes and plays with the kids.
Now, why do you think he had this love for children? Why do you think he in particular had a love for children? Go ahead, Annie. Elise, I haven't heard from you.
Because his owner before Longridge was a child.
Was a child? Was he still a child?
No.
Was he still a child? Yes.
Well, his own owners are like children,
Yes.
and so he's like is used to children and is used to getting a lot of attention and playing with them.
That's right. And
There's often this myth that gifted students, if we just assign them novels, will actually learn and read and be able to continue on their own. Gifted students need excellence in instruction. They need to be taught how to work collectively together. They need to be taught how to infer. They need to learn how to support their answers with reason.
Hang on, Jenny, what was it about that part that stood out to you? You selected that. Why was it?
Because it always makes you feel like you're sitting on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, like
Totally.
you can really visualize that.
Okay, suspense.
When the bone dropped on his foot,
Can you
that
just
was I was like shivering, like how it was deathly cold when it said it was deathly cold. I was like shivering.
And right
Totally
here,
agree. Yes, Skylar.
then he whipped about and was running. That reminds me of on page 32 when it says,
Turn back. Okay, hold your finger there.
it goes, but the forgiving jungle through fertile centuries had crept back up the slopes, clothing them in green.
So it's a what was the
It's like
comparison there?
Word repeat.
Word repeat.
Meeting together enables teachers and their gifted readers to engage in dynamic conversations about text.
Can you tell that Armstrong Sperry is an accomplished writer?
He's like a
Why?
he's an artist. in his
Descriptive
writing.
words.
He's an artist in his writing. Descriptive words, similes. What else? Anything else? Suspense. Good action. Good action.
And this page is
What page, Ryan, are you on?
Brave. It says on page 45.
Yes. Oh,
It
45.
had
Turn over to
this-
45.
It was the brave song of Tuara, the hero god.
A common concern I think we have as classroom teachers is that once we discover these students are not just reading one grade level, but often are reading 2, 3, 4 grade levels above their chronological age, it's sometimes tempting to put them into text that is way beyond their chronological age. I think as classroom teachers, we have to be very sensitive to knowing that these students are still children, we need to always keep in mind that a child who's reading above their grade level still needs to experience the content at their grade level.
So 1/2 plus 1/3 plus, who's got the last one? 1/6 equals a whole. Excellent. Can you believe it?
There are a number of ways to use flexible grouping in math.
Now, what I want you to do is I want you to see the combinations that you can come up with your 2 yellows. If this represents 1 whole, what combinations can you come up with? And you can
One approach is to deliver all math instruction in flexible groups based on students' learning needs.
Okay, now look at how Theo's thinking here.
These students have mastered grade level standards for fractions, so Kay is taking them beyond the regular curriculum.
When we flexibly group our gifted students in mathematics, we can direct our teaching in a very different way. We can use an accelerated approach with these students. We can also take concepts to a much greater depth. Instead of simply working on a basic fraction activity, we can actually introduce students to more of a constructivist or an application approach to mathematics.
So this represents what?
1/12.
1/12. Excellent. So how many would it take then to fill up with using just blue?
6.
So each of those now is represented as
1/6.
okay. And then what about your reds?
1/4.
1/4. Excellent.
In your review today on page 349, you're going to start out with some review boxes. Take a look down at number 4.
Pam's approach to math instruction enables her to provide small group work as needed for gifted learners. She begins each day's math session with a whole class review activity.
Then solve the problem and double check that decimal point.
This gives her time to meet with her 2 gifted math students.
1 and Miles, would you come over here with your chairs, please?
These students are already able to apply the skills and concepts of the current math unit, so they're tackling online problems instead.
Gifted students at about 4th, 5th, or 6th grade will begin to say, I will take the lower grade rather than do the work that I already know how to do. So we need to provide differences for daily work options for students when they demonstrate they already know the concepts.
This is the work from your problem on Friday and last week. And you started a progression of a guess and check and started at this point and ended up here. What I need you to do is to get together and explain to me what your thinking was and how you evolved from the first down to the end.
This brief meeting provides focus and direction for the 2 students.
But you can talk about it together so that you have a good explanation so I understand what your thinking was. And then I'd like you to get on and begin the problem of the week this week.
And then we have to say that we guess and check.
Let's also say that we also had to make it so that the ratio of the two pools' lengths and widths were the same.
Having gifted students document their thinking promotes valuable reflection by the students and provides equally valuable information to the teacher. When the students are finished, they move on to a new problem about triangles.
Equal sides are more, and equilateral is all 3. So it's 88 minus 1 is 12. And I'm thinking too.
Pam paces the math lesson to balance her instructional time with the class and the time she spends with the gifted students.
12 sections of 6 inches each. 6 times 4 is 24, and then 4 times 3 is 12.
You also need to include what that represents.
At the close of the math period, the teacher first checks the student's progress.
So what do you got going for your...
We got the
there's a column.
scaling. We got the scaling.
You did.
We think so.
Okay.
And then hands them the responsibility for determining their next steps.
So right now, what I'd like you to do is write 2 things that you're going to do tomorrow on this problem.
They still have to be 9 by 9.
3 by 3, a 3 by 3 array of pattern.
This teacher also groups gifted learners as needed in mathematics.
I think it's important to differentiate math instruction for highly capable students in that specific subject area, because if they are being taught at their independent level and they already know the material, they get very frustrated, very bored, and tend to either act out or check out. And I want to avoid that behavior in my class. And I want them to continue to love learning and to see the value in it. For the first problem, you need to draw a tessellation with a regular octagon and one other shape.
The district's math curriculum is organized in short units of study. After a few days of instruction, Melissa administers a diagnostic quiz that incorporates the essential content of the unit. Students scoring at 90% and higher on their homework and quiz are released from further class assignments to meet and work in a separate group.
What's the taxonomy that we've been working with all year? Nicole?
Blooms.
I have really gifted kids in algebra, and then I have gifted kids in geometry. I have gifted problem solvers, and so this group of kids is always changing. I'm going to introduce you to a new one called Williams' Taxonomy of Creative Thought. In my room, I look for either something at a more challenging, higher level, just a step above what we're doing for the students that need that extra push, or something that makes them think about it in another way. Your assignment is going to be to pick one of these areas of creative thinking that you would like to explore that's outside of your comfort zone. I also want the 5 of you to pick a different area. So here's what you can choose from. Fluency for tessellations would be to design a poster that defines and illustrates the concept of tessellations.
Melissa stays with the group long enough to walk through each option and answer questions.
I think I might want to do flexibility.
Then the students take charge of deciding who's going to do what.
Gifted students tend to love novel and innovative ideas. That's very important as we look at differentiation for advanced learners. And also these students work at a different pace. Once they demonstrate they have that concept, it's so important to allow them to work at a different level.
So if this is where the corners are, then it's going to be this big as a sheet of paper.
When the projects are completed, the students share what they've done.
That has to be a top corner.
Together, they assemble a puzzle based on tessellations.
I did the complexity, which was just describe how mosaics and collages are different. So I did these 2 paragraphs, but I drew these just to kind of explain it.
They learn about collages and mosaics.
1937, Metamorphosis is made by Escher, and this is where he starts to make more complex arts and stuff. And I have a picture of Metamorphosis right here, you can see.
And they're introduced to M.C. Escher and his art.
With shadows and stuff, and it eventually evolves into a city.
That's cool.
Oh, that's interesting. Nice.
Small, flexible groups allow these students to interact together, solving problems, creating problems, introducing new concepts, introducing new strategies.
Good job, everybody.
Yeah, great.
I'm going to have lines that connect my possibilities. Okay, so
Yeah, it's more like this.
see, this will be the first possibility, boy, boy, boy. Okay, so every first child is followed by a second child. It's either a boy or a girl, right?
Teachers can make good use of knowledgeable volunteers to facilitate flexible grouping for gifted students.
Parents are looking at us to give their gifted students great challenges. Many times these parents come with great gifts and talents themselves.
So here's my possibilities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you see that?
That was much faster.
A parent of a gifted student often has a great reading ability or a great mathematics ability, so oftentimes what I do is I use them just as part of my teaching staff. There's one of me, and there's 30 students. I need to look at all the resources that I have, and so let's start with one that has the greatest vested interest.
So I have 8 possibilities. So if I had 4 kids, and they could be each boy or girl, how many possibilities are there?
Adult volunteers can not only maximize differentiated small group opportunities, but they can work with individual students as well.
You could do 4 by 2 or 8 by 1 or
a whole bunch of different ways to do 8 cubes.
Right. That look about right for number 5?
Yes.
This volunteer works twice a week with gifted math students in Melissa's classroom.
Are those going to be different?
No, they're the same because it's just one rotated.
Right. It's the
So
same
it's still the
shape?
same prism, same shape, but it's just a little rotated. That's like saying, is this the same paper as this?
Right. Okay.
Parents, high school students, and college students can become great resources for us in the classroom.
Would this drawing look any different? The isometric view? If there was another piece hidden back here and this was...
This frees up students who already have the concept to work on problem solving in a way that they can have this great dialogue going on with that adult.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's your first child?
Oh.
So,
I get it. Yes.
oh, you guys are great.
Is this it? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that it? Is that it? Is that it?
Yes.
Wait, is it?